Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Joe and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I'm just going to be taking you through how I set up my TA, which indicators I use, how I use them, and what goes through my thought process, as I set up for a trade. Now, I mean, I do trade price and price action. So the indicators, guys, is just to, give me a little bit of confluence. I don't, trade solely just by using indicators, but I just get loads and loads of questions. So I decided to just, put everything into a video. So yeah, let's get into it. Right. You guys will see this is just a naked chart and it's Bitcoin. This is like how I start my day. I just always take a look at Bitcoin, see what's happening with Bitcoin because obviously Bitcoin influences all the rest. But I don't have any lines on. There's no indicators. There's no volume. It's just basically the naked chart, guys. And basically what we can see is that Bitcoin has made a low, and it's made a new high, and we're waiting for a lower low to come in. But I mean, it can pretty much go all the way through to probably about 11.8 before it even shows any weakness. This is definitely going to be a tough level to get through, but I do definitely expect a little bit of sideways before anything happens to Bitcoin. So like right now is obviously a good time to be looking at alts. Now one of the things that I do really like using, I chuck on the screener, and what's really cool about the screener, guys, I started with a daily. When I do look at alts, I sometimes got it on the weekly, but we'll keep it to the daily. The next thing that you guys have to make sure is just that this like Bitcoin logo is showing. So that's the cryptocurrencies. So just make sure that that's on. And then the easiest thing, I mean, you can look at the pivots, but to get this, to know the level of each coin and its price currently versus the pivot or versus the support, makes it really difficult. So just a shortcut for me is I just go to oscillators, and I just put on a few things. So what you can do is, I mean, descriptive, I don't use fundamental, I don't use technical. The only thing I really use is MACD. I suppose you guys can use RSI, and then you can just use things that are like a new month low. So you're obviously looking at buying coins at the low, right? Guys, they've got every single thing here. So you can look at itchy clouds. You can look at moving averages. You can look at simple moving averages, stochastic RSI. I mean, the list is endless. I like keeping things simple. So, I mean, this is just a nice indicator, just to show me where charts are. So you can say that it's literally below or equal to or above. We're obviously looking at anything that's below. All right. And what you can do as well is you can actually, if we go to overview, you can actually even choose the exchange. So let's keep it Binance, but you can filter through them. So there's Binance and all the major crypto trading sites or crypto exchanges. Right, so let's keep it on Binance for now. And let's make sure that we just have it on the oscillators. Right, so currently this is what we'll be filtering through, and currently, because obviously Bitcoin's rallying, you've got a lot of alts that are dumping. So what they've done is they've literally got MACD levels, and they filtered all of the coins on Binance, for everything that's literally crossing or is trading below the MACD. So, I mean, let's just pick any random coin here. I think KNC, I think a lot of guys actually had KNC as a pick on the Twitter. All right, so that's Kyber Network right now. Now, we chose MACD, and just so that you guys can see, okay, basically what's happened is that the MACD is crossed below, right? So it's heading on its way down. Now, we would literally rather try find coins that are, already crossed, quite a lot further, and kind of going through this pattern, right? I mean, that's what I'm looking for. So I'll just go through a whole bunch of these charts until I find something that I really like. I think Game is one of them. Okay, yeah. So Game has crossed below, right? And it's probably going to start, kind of this sideways accumulation pattern. And that's pretty much the only thing that I use the MACD for. So pop into the screener, go test it out with a whole bunch of different settings that you guys like. And then that's the last time I ever look at the MACD. Right, so the main thing that I've been using, and a lot of you guys have been asking me about it, I go into templates, right? And I use swing trading. Okay. The minute that the swing trading comes up, I mean, this just looks like a mess. I remove the zigzags, okay, and then on the pivot settings, I make the pivots blue. I make the lines a little bit thick on the pivots, and then I remove support and resistance like that. Okay, and then the inputs, I like keeping it on traditional. You guys can test it out. There is Fibonacci as well, but I like the traditional. Right, now, literally what I'm looking for, guys, and you'll notice that volume always comes up straight. And for me, obviously, volume precedes price. So you can see that there was quite a lot of volume here, even though price was kind of going sideways. There wasn't a major pump. And now currently, price is dipping, volume's kind of decreasing. And all I'm waiting for is that volume, like to really decrease. And then I'm waiting for the next, next buys to come in. Now, a lot of you guys are asking what R and S and P stand for. So S is support, right? And obviously S1 is the first level of support, and S2 is the second level of support. R1 is the first level of resistance. R2 is the second level of resistance. And then the pivots are marked with a P, and I like changing them just into a different color, so you guys can differentiate between them. And the thing about pivots, guys, is when they start squeezing, when they start getting really close to each other, and if you look at the history of this coin, here you can see that when the pivots get really close to each other, that's when price is like kind of not moving, like very erratically. And that's the time that you want to really get into the trade, because that's when, it's going through an accumulation phase. Right? And if you look at currently Game, there's still, a few highs and lows, but the lows are kind of, averaging out. And I'd imagine that sometime by the end of this week, or maybe sometime by next week, the next pivot would obviously come in a little bit lower, and then, the pivots will start squeezing. So generally now is the time that I start looking at these coins and start putting in quite a bit of effort, and I do check them daily. So the next thing that I do is I just, for myself, I get some reference by drawing in the daily resistance, right? So I just chuck that in over there, and let's just make this full color, and like so that we can really see it. Let's also make it a little bit thicker. All right, and then I draw in the S1 support. Let's just change that to green, and you guys will see that I do kind of color code my charts so that you guys can kind of get an idea of what a support is and what a support is and what a resistance is. Okay, and then I just extend the pivot as well, and I change the pivot to blue. Right. Okay. So once I've got this set up, I kind of know the range that I'm trading in. And the way that it works is pivots, guys. Once price is kind of trading below the pivot, it means that the momentum is pushing down. Once the price trades above the pivot, the momentum will then start, pushing the price up. And that's just basically what a pivot is. So, once price kind of breaks through a pivot and it's heading down, that's the momentum that you kind of will see. Once price breaks through a pivot from the bottom up, that's the momentum that you'll see. So we currently obviously in a downward momentum, but we are going to start reaching support, right? And this is where I want to start building my position, right? I then go into a 12-hour, and you'll see, guys, on the 12-hour, we'll have to zoom in a little bit because you're going to start seeing another support structure. So here you'll see that the daily support, right, has got more confluence with the S2. So that's probably the range that we're going to be looking at, right? And the pivot, they are not as close, right? And they are obviously like literally every time price is coming into the pivot on the 12-hour, it's pushing the price down. So momentum is still swinging the price down. So what we're going to want to see is that one of these supports kind of holds up, and we're going to wait for the new week to come out, and we want to see a pivot underneath the actual price. But let's just mark these out as well. So these are the secondary supports, and for me, you'll see here I'll actually rather use R1 and not R2, purely because it's closer to the price. And then I'll put in another pivot. Change that to blue. All right. And then I go all the way down into a 15-minute chart. All right. And on the 15-minute chart, literally all I'm looking for is exactly the same thing, and it's it's pretty clear what's happening. Price has broken through the pivot, and each day when price comes into the pivot, it's getting sold down, right? And what we see here on the 15-minute is that it has kind of found a bottom, and it will start consolidating. And this is exactly what you want to start seeing. So, I mean, I wouldn't open a position quite yet, because if you do look, there's quite a big gap between the daily and the medium time frame supports, and then the 15-minute support is like right up there. But what you want to see is, like on a small time frame, you want to see price kind of break through there, and start, making a couple of highs, and you almost want to see price going sideways, but trying to get above these pivots, and that will start, by default bringing these main time frames, so the medium and the daily time frame, closer to price, right? So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I'm looking for right now. The way price moved here, like I said, it has kind of supported at S2. Right now, S1 has become, so support 1 has actually become resistance, and you'll probably find that tomorrow's pivot would be somewhere over here, and all we're waiting for is for price to come in to these areas, or for it to go more sideways so that these support areas kind of come up. And as soon as price does find these supports, that's when I start building my position, guys. And basically all I'm doing is I keep it very simple. I buy at the support and I sell at the resistance. Buy at the support, sell at the resistance. And I do this in sometimes in BTC, sometimes in ETH, and sometimes in USD. And it works exactly the same on all the different charts. So basically, like I say, keep it simple. Buy at support, sell at resistance. And as soon as we start trading above the pivots, then obviously that's kind of when I let the trade start running. And if you guys are on the Discord, you guys can see exactly how I did that with ETC. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So if you've got any questions, hit me up in the Discord. The link is in my bio page on the YouTube. And I hope that this video kind of explained the fundamentals that I'm looking at. But like I say, guys, just keep it super simple. Buy at support, sell at resistance, accumulate as many of the coins as possible, and then once it goes above the pivot, that's when you just start letting the trade go. And what you'll notice is that once price gets above these mini pivots, right, it'll come into contact with the medium pivot, and once price is in this area over here, momentum's really going to start, kicking in, and you will start seeing serious volume, buys coming in. And at the moment, I mean, most of them are serious sells, right? So, and it's showing you that that's pretty much happening, but there are quite a lot of little buys here. So there are guys that are accumulating game at the moment. So I will be updating the game chart every day, just so you guys can see. And sorry that I didn't pick your guys' coins. A lot of your guys' coins are new coins, and there isn't really like a history, but you guys can test it out, and then you guys can send me in the Discord. You guys can send me a few questions, or you guys can chart up some charts yourself, and then send me them in the Discord. And then tomorrow, what I'll do is in the afternoon, UTC +2 time, I'll probably be home at about 4 o'clock, and then I'll literally just sit and answer as many questions as I can. So yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this gives you guys a little bit of a better understanding of how I use these pivots, supports, and resistance areas. And yeah, subscribe, like, share, and yeah, let your mates also watch the video, and I'll be grateful. Thanks a mil, and chat to you guys soon. On the weekend, I will be doing a few old picks as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Peace.